Oh, Hasbro. Oh, Hasbro, you sweet, sinister mega corporation, you. You thought you got away with this, did you? You really thought you could hide your crimes forever, but we've heard of what you've done. Okay, we really haven't, but that's besides the point.
Hello, Repony. My name is Hawk Nightwing, the most unapologetic defender of G5 you'll ever meet.
And for today's leaked episode, it's time to travel back in time. Way back in time to the fantastic past of Tired Tale Season 1. Yeah, I bet you guys didn't see that coming. Admittedly, I haven't talked about Season 1 of Tired Tale much on this channel, when I really should. It's been absent aside from maybe a couple videos and my very, very early review content. And that's because compared to the near masterpiece that was Season 2, Season 1 always struck me as just kinda okay. Like, it's good, definitely underrated. There's a lot of great stuff here. I do like it. I do think when the season tried, it really tried, delivered some legit bangers. But most of it was just kind of nothing episodes, with no greater point or purpose. And that's mainly because that was the point where G5 relied solely on making Mark to tell its story, whereas Tired Tale was just there in the background as supplementary content. Was it still enjoyable and fun? Oh heck yeah, it was. But compared to the drama and intrigue of its sister show, Season 1 really presented Tired Tale as just a sort of vibe series. Honestly, I think taking over from making Mark as the sole focus show was the best thing that could have ever happened to it, as it forced the creative team to reevaluate their entire strategy, upgrade the animation, and deliver some of the best quality MLP storytelling ever. There's a reason why I'm known as a Season 2 guy nowadays, as that season for me truly was Tired Tale. It was the definitive version of it. But oh well, once you acknowledge that there was a first season before the peak, we come to an episode that I honestly haven't thought much of since it first aired. Attack of the Bunnisus. We all know the story for this one by now. Sunny wants to earn the Wilderness Survival Badge with her friends. There's a giant bunny attacking Maritime Bay. She and her friends have to stop it. And Wendy was given a starring role. You get it. The episode for me has always been good and has a good lesson, but it was also kind of forgettable at the same time. Like I said, I haven't thought much of it since. And I in no way thought I'd be revisiting this episode anytime soon. But now, turns out the Hasbro vault goes deeper than we thought. Because it turns out that not only was there a collab plan with the Girl Scouts that would introduce this whole new character named Scout Kindheart, but also, that character actually made it into the show at one point. That's right, there is an alternate cut of Attack of the Bunnisus under a completely different title, and to celebrate its unauthorized release, I want to find out whether or not the added runtime of the animatic, plus Scout's inclusion, would have made the episode better. Do things make more sense now? Do I like this episode more now as a result? Let's find out. It's time to find out which cut of the episode was superior. And since I think a normal review would not do this glorious discovery justice, this is my versus battle of Scoutward Bound versus Attack of the Bunnisus. Both the story and pacing for these episodes is exactly the same, down to most of the dialogue. It's literally 99% of the same episode from a story and character perspective. But, the key difference that Scoutward Bound has is the added runtime. At the beginning of Attack of the Bunnisus, we are thrown right into the story, where Sunny is somehow already working with Wendy as part of the Trail Trotters, earning badges left and right. But with Scoutward Bound, it's a bit different. This cut of the episode starts with Sunny helping Posey grow a plant, and then saving her when that plant gets out of control. This results in Sunny earning her first badge, and she asks Scout what other badges she can earn. Then that leads into the montage of her earning badges we're familiar with. It's that added context that adds so much to the main plot. Sunny is helping another pony with a simple task, which feels true to her character. That added minute allows the episode to slowly ease us into the premise instead of throwing us in right out of the gate. By earning her first badge in that scene, the context for the central crux of the story is established. Sunny's working with a Girl Scout group that does community work to earn badges, by helping other ponies, and by opening with an extended scene that takes its time to draw you in, Scoutward Bound allows you to appreciate why the story is the way it is, and it provides context for the character's motivations. Sometimes, not throwing us in straight away is a good thing, as the longer runtime allows the episode to breathe and establish its story. Plus, the ending also has room to breathe. After defeating the Bunnisus and earning the Wilderness Survival Badge, Sunny loses her stash momentarily. But luckily, Izzy already found it, and there's a cute little interaction between them. Whereas the ending for Attack of the Bunnisus felt a little too abrupt and quick without that interaction. In the final cut, Wendy basically just says, actually, psych, you earned this, can you rest slow, then the episode ends. But here, the added 30 seconds allows the story to breathe. That ending may not seem like an important change, but again, it's the pacing that really separates the two. It makes this cut feel much more natural. So the version with the superior story is Scoutward Bound. Like I stated before, the main six are the exact same in both cuts of the episode. Aside from Sunny's dialogue being changed around a bit, and exchanging one gross out joke for another gross out joke on Sparky's end, which feels rather counterproductive, the characters don't really have much difference in terms of motivation or agency, so I won't be focusing on them. Who I do want to focus on, however, is the star of the show herself, Scout Kindheart, and how she changes the episode's meaning. Is it wrong that I kind of prefer her inclusion here to Wendy? She's great and all, but before this episode, I don't remember hearing if it was ever established that she was a Trail Trotter guide and actually did this. This is something that came out of nowhere and we were expected to just roll with it. But here, Scout was a character specifically created for the Girl Scouts collab, so not only does the plot feel more organic, but the character at the forefront feels like a natural inclusion. With this added context, you buy Scout as a leader of this troop, and the fact that both she and the episode specifically created due to a partnership makes her inclusion in this cut feel all the more special. It's basically like all those guest stars in Friendship is Magic. They're special because you don't see it often, and in Season 9's case, the story was based around a true story involving Pat and Oswald. So not only was the story organic, but the central character relationships were too. And the same absolutely applies here. This feels like an episode specifically tailored around the collab, and Scout was a major part of making this work. Despite sharing the exact same role as Wendy in the final cut, her inclusion takes on a completely different meaning, and makes the cut we actually got at first feel lost in translation. I don't know what drove Hasbro to cut Scout out of the episode, whether it was due to a falling out between parties or what, but this episode absolutely benefits from having Scout being here. The wait for her was absolutely worth it, even if she does have limited screen time. Like I said, Wendy served her role perfectly in Attack of the Bunnisus, but when you consider her original purpose wasn't meant to be that, more so a friend to Posey, and the fact that this aspect of her character never comes up again, it's enough to make the decision to swap Scout for her feel questionable and lazy from an executive standpoint. This feels like a last-minute decision. Did Hasbro just not feel like having the animators actually animate the character rig they made for her? Were they trying to cut costs? I don't get it! So the cut of the episode with the superior and far more organic starring character is Scoutward Bound. At the end of the day, Scoutward Bound may just be an early version of a kind of nothing episode, but the fact it exists at all really paints it in a whole new light. Despite Attack of the Bunnisus being the version to actually get animated in the gorgeous art style that I'll forever defend until the day I die, fight me, Scoutward Bound just stands out a whole lot more, as ironically, it feels more complete, like there was a point to it being made. It may be the same episode, but the meaning is entirely different. Not only was the story allowed to breathe from a pacing perspective due to animatics generally being longer than the final cut, but the character at the starring role feels more organic and like a natural fit for this kind of premise. I really do appreciate this episode a whole lot more after seeing this quote-unquote director's cut, and it makes me wonder what other lost cuts of episodes with certain changes there are hiding in the vault somewhere, just waiting to be released. Maybe we'll see them. One day. Who knows? All I know is, I came out of this video with a much greater appreciation of an episode that didn't really impress me all that much at the time. But now, I think I do unironically love it for what I tried to be alone. Oh, the many things that could have been.
But what do you guys think of this episode? Feel free to let me know in the comments below. Until next time, this is Hawk Nightwing signing out.